Alright guys, so I just want to finish off today with a bit of an action plan for you guys, just something to take away to actually make sure that there's a way you guys can actually implement this on a regular basis and give you something that we haven't released into the product yet, and it's something that we'll email to you guys directly early next week that you can actually start to use. So hopefully it's going to be a pretty cool takeaway for you guys to actually action this on a regular basis. And what I want to talk about as an introduction to this is core focus time. Obviously inside Module 1 I speak about core focus time, and I really do think it's a critical thing that you actually have as part of your weekly ritual or your weekly schedule, is actually having that core focus time. I find that when people sort of, and I do this and definitely did this, when I was working on my business, I'd go in and say, yep, okay, I'm in front of my laptop, I'm working on my business. And, I'd feel, I can't remember the exact articulation of the quote, but I would confuse, activity with accomplishment. I'd confuse activity with accomplishment. I'd be there, on my computer doing stuff on my laptop, and I'm like, I'm internet marketing, or I'm, growing my business and I'm marketing my business. But at the end of the period of time, whatever it might be, a particular hour session, or I sat back at the end of the month and looked at actually what I did and achieved in my business. I did all this busy work, but I actually didn't get any closer to my actual goal of growing my business. With core focus time, it's all about actually, when you're sitting down at your desk, having that clear outcome for that particular period of time. I recommend that you should schedule into your diary 25-minute blocks. That's what the scientists have done all this research on, that sort of, if you concentrate on something for 25 minutes and then break and then go again, that's what seems to work really, really well. Obviously, test this. If you are happy to concentrate for an hour or 15 minutes or 2 hours, then by all means, change this up for yourself. But what I really think you need to do is treat this as a business. We've spoken about that all day today, that this internet marketing game is a business. And when you actually have that mind shift change and start acting like a business owner, you actually will get results. And what do business owners do? They actually have schedules. They put meetings and outcomes and things into a diary. So I really do believe if you've got a full-time job still and doing this internet marketing business on the side, just treat it like that and schedule Tuesday nights at 9 till 12 or 9 till 10 your a core focus time. Wednesday mornings between 10 and 11 is a core focus time. Actually go about putting it in your diary. And then when you actually sit down to do this, this is sort of the mental process I want you guys to go through to actually get these results. So first and foremost, as I said, it's a positive constraint. Having that podcast happening every single week at a set time is a positive constraint. Having that webinar every week at a set time is a positive constraint. It makes you do it very, very clearly. But if you don't have in your schedule product creation, if you don't have in your schedule backlinking, it's never going to happen. You're going to sit at your desk and then just do busy work and activities and not actually get an outcome. One of the things we were suggesting on the live stream, I think it was, and again yesterday, is one way to make yourself committed to actually create products is do a webinar scheduled every week. You say, I'm going to schedule a webinar next Thursday where I'm going to create a piece of content which I'm going to sell. Advertise the webinar to your current clients. Give it away to them for free if they're not going to be your target market for the actual product. And what you do in that webinar is you say at the start, hey guys, what I've got for you today is a piece of content about this. This is going to be a product I'm going to create. So all you're going to see here is me talking through a mind map. And then my team's going to take this into create slides and videos, and I'll give you that final product for free for being here on the webinar with me today. But this is the context and the frame of this webinar. I'm going to use this as a positive constraint to create this piece of content in my particular niche. They'll forgive you for talking through a mind map. It doesn't have to be a polished webinar. And in that scenario, the outcome is a positive constraint for content creation. So it doesn't matter if you've only got one person on the webinar. Most webinars, when you think about webinar marketing or just webinars in business, it can get scary. I can't do a webinar because I've got to have 500 people on there before it's even worth my while. But you have a clear outcome of the purpose of the webinar is to give you a positive constraint to create content. If it's just your next door neighbour or your mum at the other end of the webinar, it keeps you accountable to turn up. So that's what I'm talking about, having scheduled time in to actually do this sort of stuff, because it forces you to turn up. So first you want to make sure you schedule in these things as core focus time. And be very, very clear that they are core focus time. And then be clear of the outcome. What is be clear on your outcome of action. So the actions I'm going to take in this particular period of time, this core focus time, is going to get me one result in my business. It's not I'm going to sit down and work on my business for 25 minutes. Because again, working on your business is not specific enough. I spoke at the start of the day that there's 4 things that everything really should fall into. Market research, traffic, conversion, or product. So when you sit down to do something in this core focus time, it really should be very clear in your mind that it's going to, the outcome of this particular action I'm about to do, we haven't spoken about what the action is, but the outcome here is traffic. The outcome here is conversion. The outcome here is product creation. So you might want to sit down and go, okay, I need to do some traffic. I need to generate traffic for my business today. So that's the outcome of this core focus time. Well, the actions could be backlinking. So if you want to go really granular, doing comments on blog posts to get backlinks. That's not something I would really suggest you do, but that's sort of the type of thing. Another form of traffic could be I'm going to get a press release organised and submitted and published to get backlinks. Product creation, this might be a 25-minute webinar, whatever it might be, you're very clear about why you're doing the actions. So that gives you the outcome. It's not just sitting down, I'm going to be busy. Because sitting down and being busy doesn't get you anywhere in a clear direction. Third is be clear on the core element of what you're actually going to do. This is the core and mechanics stuff I've spoken about quite a bit. So once you actually know that I'm going to sit down in this core focus time and do something like product creation, okay, what does product creation look like? It's a video, hypothetically. Well, of that video, what are the elements of core versus mechanics? So now I know in this critical focus time, I'm going to work on creating a product, but all I'm going to do is a mind map and a video. Maybe it's a traffic scenario. I need to sit down and write a blog post. That's the core element of this particular traffic generation core focus time I'm doing. And then the article is going to be turned into, through leverage and mechanical team members, an audio podcast, a range of other articles, whatever it might be. So you really want to be clear on the outcome of the actions and then what part of the actions are core versus mechanics. And the thing is, it's okay to do mechanical work. I'm very much pushing and saying quite a bit that you want to only do core. And that's absolutely true. But it's okay to do mechanics to start with, as long as you're aware that it's mechanics. So right now, if you're starting out in business, I don't mind, and you shouldn't mind, and give yourself that freedom to say, okay, I have to do mechanics in my business. I don't have the funds right now to outsource. I don't have the skills, the resources available to leverage everything I need to do. So I need to do mechanics in my business. Everyone starts out there and it's okay. But as long as you identify that when you're doing mechanical stuff, it's mechanical, it actually gives you that knowing point of where your leverage point will be in the future. You can go, okay, this part of my core focus time today is doing the core element. I'm doing the mind map and the audio. Tomorrow I've got to do a CFT, core focus time, CFT, but I'm going to do the mechanical elements of this. I'm now going to do the slides to create the video. So you're aware, this is the core, this is mechanics as part of our CFTs, and you actually get to know and identify what's good and what's bad. And that leads me on to this, which is what's going to come out very, very quickly in the next couple of days. It'll be an interactive PDF. It's a bit of a game to help you actually track yourself, because obviously what you want to be doing as you grow your business is more and more core elements. Because it's the core elements that really help drive your business and less mechanical. So let me explain this to you. So this is a core focus tracker. So you've got your starting day, so it might be, hypothetically, August 20th, which was Monday, so that's this week. And then we've got, obviously, each day of the week is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way down the list. So on the left-hand side, what you see here is actually a range of things, Dom? A range of things that you actually will be doing in your business. Now, what I'm going to give you is two versions of this. One, where it's actually going to be empty, so you can actually add in what this works for you. This is what I suggest most businesses look like in the internet marketing space. So you've got a 10 items. This is worth 10 points. So it's a core marketing production. So for example, it might be doing a podcast as an example. For me, that's a core marketing function I'll actually do in one of my CFTs. I sit down, do a podcast with Dom. Another 10-point task or action is core product creation. So it might be doing the mind map and the audio file for a piece of content, or it might be writing an article. Whatever it is that for you is the core element to grow your business. 5-point tasks, market leadership activities. We talk about that in Module 2, I think it is, of the program, about doing market leadership. You need to be a market leader in your business. That is something that you need to do as a core function. So if you do forum posting in your business, using the Profit Hack formula of doing forum posting, where you have your team member go out, scour through the forums that you want to be a market leader in, find the threads that are relevant to you, and give you those threads. The action of replying to those threads with an audio file, if you want to approach the forum posting through the Profit Hacks way, is where you actually reply to each of those forum threads that have been identified by your team member with an audio file and sending it back to them to actually then transcribe and actually post on the thread on your behalf. That core element of that, of actually doing the audio replies, is the core element of market leadership that I would do in one of my core focus times. Whether you do that every day or you just do forum posting once a week. That's my core focus time, hypothetically, on Tuesday mornings at 9 o'clock, is forum posting. And I'm only going to be doing the core element of that, so that's a 5-point task. There's a whole range of market leadership activities that I would say are 5-point tasks. Another 5-point task is out-tasking. So writing a job advert up to actually give you leverage in your business. That's a 5-point task. It actually helps you get out of the mundane mechanic stuff. So managing your out-tasker, communicating back and forth with them is a 5-point task. Outsourcing is a 5-point task. And for those of you who have seen the video sessions on outsourcing, out-tasking, I treat them as two different things. One-off tasks are out-tasking. Having a full-time team member and managing them is outsourcing. So hiring, management, training, they're all 5-point tasks. You've got 2-point tasks you have to do in your business, which is inevitable admin. Dealing with customer support tickets you might have to do in your business. It's a 2-point task. Email management, dealing with email. That's a 2-point task. Networking and communication. So actually, networking with people, talking to JV partners, that sort of stuff is something you have to do in your business. It's a 2-point task. And then we've got at the bottom here, I've got consumption and mechanical tasks, i.e. slide creation. This is the stuff you actually want to leverage your time with. You don't want to be doing this sort of stuff, but quite often it's inevitable. Consuming stuff, getting distracted by consumption, those sort of things are 1-point tasks. So what I want you to do with this is treat it like this. So at the end of every day, on a Monday, sit down and go, okay, out of my time I spent on my business, you might want to break each of these little circles down to 25-minute blocks. So each one is a CFT. Hypothetically, you work full-time in your business. You have, 16 25-minute blocks with a 5-minute break available in an 8-hour day. Most people, don't spend that much time on their business. They only really break down to focus on their business maybe 2 or 3 hours a day. With Profit Hacks, you can do that. We've all seen how we can grow our business in only sort of hour, 2 hours a day. If you saw the live stream the other day, I did a whole week's worth of work in 6 hours. So I could do two CFTs a day or one a day if I wanted to and grow my business. But at the end of, hypothetically Monday, I say I've done, let's say in this example, I've done 7 CFTs today, hypothetically. One of my CFTs was a 10. I did a podcast. I did another 5. I maybe did forum posting. I give myself 5 points. I had to do some email management. I give myself 2 points. And I did a whole bunch of crappy mechanical tasks. I'm just starting out in my business. So I had to do 1-point tasks. So it was Monday. Tuesday, slightly different. I did another podcast, hypothetically. I did 2 5-pointers. I did some more forum posting, and I actually put an out-task job up. I did also 2 2-point tasks. I did some customer support tickets, and I actually emailed a potential JV partner. And I still had to, unfortunately, I did 2 1-point tasks. I actually got distracted and ended up reading Facebook for half an hour and finding out my auntie's, cousin's, next door neighbour's dog's butcher did something exciting, whatever it might be. So I got distracted, and that's fine, it happens. So give yourself 1 point. Wednesday, I had a cracker of a day. I did 3 core elements to my business, but I still had a bit of distraction in there. So the whole idea of this is a way to track yourself and your progress through your business. To actually make sure every week and every day you're moving closer towards more core time. So if you know you're doing 7 core focus times a day or 2 a day, whatever it might be, you want to obviously get to the point where you can get as close to all 10s in a particular period of time. So that means all your low-level consumption, your mechanics, support tickets, even out-tasking is managed by somebody else. Now, is that possible? Not really, let's be honest about it. There's no one who lives in a business world where all they do is 10-point tasks. What you're trying to do every week or every day, however you want to track this, is actually get more weight. At the end of a week, have a better week than the week before. Give yourself a reward that, you're only going to buy yourself, or you buy yourself a gift every week when your actual core focus time total points is better than the week before. Depending where your business is at, you might say, there's $50 as a business owner I'm going to take and invest in rewarding my staff. I'm the only staff member I've got. So the reward is maybe every week where I beat my previous week's total, I can go buy myself a pair of shoes on Facebook, or I can, on Amazon or whatever it might be. Or you can, people advertise shoes on Facebook. Like whatever it might be, that's your reward, is when you actually get more points than the week before. Because I think having this sort of way to actually structure yourself and track yourself and see progress is really important with anything. I guess, Chris, from a mindset perspective with triathlon, I know when I did my Ironman, my coach, we were doing every 4 weeks, we had time trials in the pool and running, not the bike, but just the pool and on the track, we're doing time trials to see how I was progressing. And the better I progressed, the more confidence I got, the more fun I was having, and it was much better. Would you? Absolutely. That sort of stuff. So this is a way to actually track yourself with business. This is what I find really strange, is that in sport, tracking is important. Like you cannot get to the Olympics without tracking yourself every single week. That's what you do as an athlete. But in business, the only way you really track yourself is by the bank balance, which is a fairly good way to track yourself. But when you're starting out, it can be
Can make you feel bad.
Yeah, it can make you feel bad. Much better word. What was the word I was having trouble with yesterday? Simonin. I can't remember. There you go. Because, when you're starting out in business, it does take time to go from $0 to $100 a day to $1,000 a day to a $10,000 week to a $100,000 week, whatever it might be in your business. So this is a great way to make sure you're rewarding yourself and you're focusing on the right things every single week, which will get you to the point where you can start tracking your business success by money. It takes time, unfortunately, to get to the point where you can track your business success by money. So this is a great way to keep yourself focused, rewarding yourself, and know you actually are targeting your time and investing your time on the right things. Does that make sense? Cool. So that's basically what I want to leave you with today. Is I'm going to give you guys this inside the program next week. It's going to be released. So you can actually download these in PDF format. You're going to get a couple of things. You're going to have this version with actually what I would think are a great sort of breakdown of your point scale. But you're going to get a PDF that's actually going to be editable. So it'll actually be blank in each one of these columns on the left-hand side. So you can structure this however you want. So you can say that, in your business, you can actually adjust what you think is worth 10 points, what do you think is worth 5 points, and you can actually have this as your own personal tracker. So you then every week give yourself points. Every day sit down and go, I did this, I did this, I did this. Be honest with yourself. Everyone has 1 point days. Everyone has, you might sit down one day and you will actually go, I'm going to do forum posting, and you end up getting distracted in a forum and you waste the whole half hour. It's okay if you're honest with yourself. It's not okay to do if you lie to yourself and say, I was actually productive for my business. If you're aware of yourself and you track yourself and you be honest with yourself, just sort of a theme for today as well, you'll actually then assess yourself honestly and go, actually, I had a crap day today. We do that. Like this, take it back to sport. The Australian media hounded our swimmers. We had a terrible Olympics in the pool. It happens. It's just that is a nature of being human. You can't be a perfectionist every single day. So that's sort of what the idea of this is, just to help you give you an overall perspective of how you're moving forward in your business and moving away from mechanical tasks and moving towards core tasks. Now the final thing I want to do before we open up for some Q&A before we finish today is actually give you guys a couple of seconds just to think about what's going to be the one action point you're going to do in your next CFT after today. So when you go home on Monday, what is the one thing you're going to do from today, from profit hacks in general, from anything in your business? I don't really care if what you take action on Monday has anything to do with me or today at all. I just want you to take a couple of minutes to actually think, is what is the very first action, what is going to be the outcome, and what is actually the action going to look like when I do my first CFT on Monday? So the outcome might be, I want to start a podcast. I actually want to do this podcasting thing. Well, the action might be to actually do the mind map of your very first episode, hypothetically. Whatever it might be. So just take a couple of moments and think about what is the first outcome I'm going to work towards and what's that first action going to look like in the CFT. All right, so what I'd love to do is actually hear a couple of people, what they're actually going to do. So if anyone willing to sort of share what they're actually going to implement now moving forward the next couple of weeks and what the action points are going to look like. Anyone want to actually share that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I would have easily said I want to create a podcast, but coming here, that would not make sense.
Yeah, awesome.
Understanding what you guys said, that would not make sense. So I was referring back, right? What is, obviously, either I do a market launch or product launch or whatever, but going back, okay, what is that I need to be? So I need to make myself as an authority,
Yep.
right? So create a platform for potential clients and create authority for JVs, right? For that, yeah, podcast, create a podcast, and then like that would be going to your blog, books, and then use the profit hacks to, churn out other stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, profit. My like CFT would be creating a podcast,
Yep.
but there is a reason behind that. Thanks
Beautiful.
to you.
Yeah,
Excellent.
good practical reason for the podcast. Awesome. Anybody else
Who
want
else?
to share anything they've taken away or going to actually implement?
So the next thing I'm going to do as a CFT is I'm going to set up a subdomain
Yep.
for Marge's blog,
Awesome.
and I'm going to put together the outsourcing and start to make the contacts to get the blog set up, and then by an outsourcer, and then we're going to start populating with content to drive more traffic and more authority for Marge over time.
Cool.
And then
So is that CFT going to be you actually setting up the subdomain or just writing the job spec for someone else to do
No,
it?
I'm going to set up the subdomain. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm just going to get a hold of the contractor I'm working, or the ISP I've got right now.
Yep.
And say, what does it take? Click, 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 subdomain.
Cool.
Right? And then the next thing I'm going to do is go to whatever, Elance or something, and look for somebody that can do WordPress, etc., and just get them to set up the blog
Perfect.
structure so that we can start populating it right away.
Awesome. Very cool. Nice.
So, who's next? Big action.
I'm going to set my date for my webinar, but the critical thing is not that, because I've done that before, is actually do the landing page.
Okay.
And the following thing, and the sales page, the following thing from that is to actually put together the questionnaire for using at events, given that I'm not going to be running an event at my house, which will include also a sign-up sheet for the webinar.
Cool.
All right, let's give it up. It's good.
Awesome.
Action. Good action.
Absolutely.
Who's got some other action going to share? All right.
I'm going to take those 100 articles,
Yep.
and on Monday, I'm going to contract somebody to convert them and start repurposing.
Beautiful. Awesome. Nice.
Who's next?
Cool. All right. So what I want to do now is that's pretty much everything I wanted to share from a corporate thing today, or from a plan thing today. So anyone got any final questions? We've probably got time for 2 or 3 before we kind of have to get kicked out of this room, I think is. So has anyone got any sort of other questions that sort of left dangling that they really want to have answered today that they want to cover, or we sort of either embarrass you too much that the question's not really the right question to ask given the outcome and the goal and the business model, or have you sort of covered it all? Has anybody got anything else they want to sort of suggest, ask, prod, pull? Yep, Gillian?
So these are sort of program-based things. The first one is, can we still send through questions that arise as the new stuff comes?
You're asking as if support will continue for people that
Yep.
have purchased the product. Absolutely.
Yep.
As we've said on a number of occasions on the Q&A, just to be clear, yep, you guys have bought the product, continue to receive support on the normal channels. If you have any questions about anything, submit a support email and we'll answer it for you. Okay?
Great. And the second is, are you going to set up an affiliate program so we can...
Yeah, there will be, for the big launch, it'll be the normal Strategic Profits affiliate program. How that works, Tom can answer because I'm not too sure. So there will be, obviously, for the big launch, all that sort of stuff.
Correct. Yes, this is still the internal launch. And actually, while we were outside, you saw Brendan Burchard called.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people calling, Frank Kern, wanting to participate. So
Yeah, well, yeah,
we'll
I
have
think
the
Frank
big-
and Mike for saying one
Mike
to
was
mail
saying
this
one
week.
to mail
for
this one,
yeah.
right? So there will be in the external launch tons of JVs, and you as purchasers and members will be able to share that through an affiliate link and earn commissions that way as well.
So
Yes.
will we be? I don't know how your affiliate program works. Will we email
Everyone will be notified,
Everyone will be
yes,
notified
yes.
the opportunity you've had to go about doing
Correct.
that.
Yes, and that will
Cool.
be within the next month. You'll probably
Yeah,
receive
well,
some
yeah.
updates on that.
Beautiful. Cool. Great question. Chris.
I know it's been raised a few times in the calls about a forum
Yep.
where we could ask questions in a public forum.
Yep.
I know you may not be planning it, but where does that currently
Yeah,
sit?
great question. Actually, someone else mentioned that today as well. So what the plan is for us from Profit Hacks perspective is next week is basically our planning week for the big launch and everything after the big launch. So, we'll basically get this week out of the way, have our sort of internal launch organised, and then 5 days next week before I fly home is us planning stuff out. So part of that will be things like what else can we do to add value to up the conversion rate by making the thud factor bigger and things like that. And potentially one of those things very well maybe a forum. We've got on the to-do list or to-discuss list. So that could happen. We're not quite sure. We haven't discussed it yet. So by the end of next week, I'll promise you this, is what we'll do is if we are doing a forum, we'll let you know in some sort of mail out that something's coming and just hold tight. If we're not doing a forum and you guys want to do something together, we'll notify you of we're not doing anything, and then you guys can go on your own path and sort of organise that yourselves. So if we're going to do something formal, it's probably best to have it all in one place. That way other people coming on can get the same value and share the knowledge. But if we're not doing it, then we'll let you know and you can kind of just organise yourself. So if you can hold off a week for us, that'd be appreciated, because that way we can confirm what we want to do.
Yeah, 'cause I think from our perspective, a simple Facebook group would be serve.
Yeah, absolutely. So that could be a good starting point.
It doesn't need to be an official
Anything,
one from the Profit Hacker
exactly
leaders.
Right. So we'll let you know what we want to do. Yeah. So we like potentially, we might potentially moderate that. It's kind of the hard thing is that if it's got Profit Hack on it, there's this implied thing that we're involved with it, and that's a really hard thing. Is that if we're not involved in moderating it, and it's got Profit Hacks on there, it could actually like come back and kick us in the butt. 'Cause people start getting there, and there's conversations happen, and the forum happens without us moderating it. It could get ugly. Yeah, I was going to say nasty, but not ugly in the. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So we have to sort of work out. If you guys want to have a group of your own, sort of just smart business implementers who hack stuff to make more money group. Maybe that could be okay, but using the Profit Hacks name and stuff might be a bit dicey. So we've got to just chat internally about how that can work, and we'll let you know. Cool. So I guess what I'd suggest is, I don't know, again, like whether we probably wouldn't email out everyone's, if we're not going to manage the Facebook group or any sort of forum, we won't email you guys everyone's details so you can set it up yourself. So what I would suggest, if anyone wants to have that mastermind kind of group potentially happen if we don't organise it, is get in a little group tonight and share email addresses. So if we say we're not going to do it, you guys can then email each other and make it happen. I'd hate to say, have us say we're not going to do it, and then you guys go, okay, we'll do it ourselves, and then like, oh, hang on, I don't know how to get in contact with everybody. So maybe just create your own little mastermind group right now anyway, and then that way.
That's a nice little hack, it being in a live event anyhow. I've built my authority by attending live events and meeting like-minded people. It's always great. The connections that you meet here are movers and shakers.
That's how I met Dom.
What's that?
That's how I met Dom.
Exactly. How you guys met, how I met Mike Filsame, how I met Rich, how I met Frank Kern, how I met everybody. And it's a great thing. And obviously, you choosing to be here and take time and travel from all over the world to be here means that you're a mover and shaker. It's great to get to know each other, and great things can happen from that.
I'll start a list just here.
That's what I was going to say, pass it around, and then the last person emails everything.
Cool.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
Cool. Fantastic, guys. Well, thank you so much for not only hanging out today and hopefully getting some value and participating, but thank you for, I'm going to tell you, leap of faith. Taking that leap of faith after that first live stream where Rich sort of said, this is, what it's all about. And I really do appreciate, from my perspective, you guys actually having faith in me, and faith in Rich obviously has faith in me, because this is my first sort of big thing. I've done a couple of books and stuff. That's more kind of corporate, traditional sort of stuff, as opposed to sort of being that, for want of a better term, guru in the internet marketing space. So I really do appreciate you guys having faith in what I'm doing in my business and what I'm sharing of what's working for me with others. So thank you so much for turning up and all that sort of stuff. So hope you got some value for everything, and we'll hopefully be in touch at some point in the future on some level, whether it's a forum or a seminar next year or whatever it might be. So thank you all very, very much.
Give it up for Pete and Dom, everybody.
Woo! Thanks, guys.